Destroy your anxiety in 13 minutes. A powerful Stoic mindset for inner steel. Opening, first 3 seconds. What if the thing destroying your peace is not what is happening to you, but what your mind keeps telling you about what might happen? Give me 13 minutes, and I will show you how to stop feeding the fear, regain control of your attention, and become calmer under pressure. Welcome back to Inner Steel. If you're ready to build a mind that doesn't collapse every time life becomes uncertain, subscribe to Inner Steel and stay with us. This channel is about discipline, emotional control, resilience, and becoming stronger from within. Take a slow breath. Forget tomorrow for a moment. Forget yesterday. Right now you are here. And that is where your power begins. 1. Stop fighting what has not happened. Anxiety has a strange habit. It takes something that has not happened and makes your body react as if it already has. You receive a message from someone you care about. They don't respond. 10 minutes pass. Your mind says something is wrong. 30 minutes pass. Your mind says maybe they're angry. 2 hours pass. Now your mind has created an entire story. Maybe they don't respect you anymore. Maybe they found someone else. Maybe you said something wrong. Maybe everything is falling apart. But look at what actually happened. Someone didn't respond to a message. That's it. Everything else was created by your imagination. This is one of the greatest problems with anxiety. It doesn't always need reality. It only needs possibility. Your mind takes a possibility and dresses it like a certainty. And suddenly you're suffering from something that hasn't even happened. The Stoics understood this problem deeply. They recognized that human beings often suffer not only from events, but from the judgments they attach to those events. Imagine a man named Daniel. Daniel had an important job interview scheduled for Friday. On Monday, he began worrying. What if they don't like me? What if I forget an answer? What if someone more qualified gets the position? What if I embarrass myself? By Wednesday, Daniel was exhausted. But nothing had happened. The interview hadn't happened. He hadn't failed. He hadn't embarrassed himself. He had simply spent 3 days mentally living inside a future that didn't exist. On Friday morning, something changed. Daniel sat down and asked himself, what problem am I actually facing right now? The answer was simple. I need to prepare. So he prepared. He reviewed his experience. He practiced his answers. He organized his clothes. Then he stopped. He realized something powerful. Preparation could help him. Worry could not. The interview came. It wasn't perfect. He stumbled on one question. But he recovered. And when he walked out, he realized the truth. The version of the interview he had feared for 3 days had never existed. It had only lived in his head. Your anxiety often works the same way. It asks, what if? Then it gives you 100 possible answers. You don't have to answer every what if. Sometimes the strongest response is, I will deal with it if it happens. That sentence is powerful. Because it returns you to the present. If something hasn't happened, don't suffer twice. Don't pay emotional rent on a future you don't live in. Prepare when preparation is useful. Act when action is possible. But when there is nothing to do, stop mentally wrestling with the invisible. Tell yourself, if it happens, I will handle it. And then return to today. 2. Separate the fact from the story. Anxiety becomes stronger when facts and interpretations become mixed together. Learn to separate them. A fact is, my boss asked to speak with me tomorrow. The story is, I'm probably getting fired. A fact is, she hasn't replied. The story is, she doesn't care about me anymore. A fact is, I made a mistake. The story is, I'm a failure. The fact might be uncomfortable, but the story can become unbearable. Consider Marcus. He was a young man who had recently started a new business. One afternoon, he opened his email and saw a message from a major client. The subject line said, "We need to talk." His stomach dropped. Immediately, His mind began racing. They're leaving. I've ruined everything. They're going to tell other people. I'm going to lose the business. He stared at the screen for almost an hour. Then he forced himself to write 2 columns. The first column: what I know. The second: what I'm assuming. Under what I know, he wrote, they want to talk. Under what I'm assuming, he wrote, they're unhappy. They're leaving. I'm going to lose money. My reputation is damaged. When he looked at the 2 columns, something became obvious. He had 1 fact. And 5 fears. The next morning, he took the call. The client wasn't leaving. They wanted to increase their contract and needed to discuss a larger project. Marcus laughed afterward. Not because anxiety was funny, but because he finally saw how easily his mind could turn uncertainty into catastrophe. You need this skill. When anxiety appears, ask, what do I actually know? Not, what do I fear? Not, what could happen? Not, what does this remind me of? Ask, what do I know? This question creates distance. And distance creates clarity. You might discover that the situation is difficult. Fine. Difficult is not the same as disastrous. You might discover that you made a mistake. Fine. A mistake is not the same as a ruined life. You might discover that someone doesn't like you. Fine. Their opinion is not a verdict on your worth. Facts deserve your attention. Stories deserve examination. Never allow your imagination to become the judge, jury, and executioner of your peace. 3. Accept that you cannot control everything. A large portion of anxiety comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control. You cannot control what someone thinks about you. You cannot control whether everyone understands you. You cannot control whether another person stays. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the past. You cannot control every outcome. And you cannot control tomorrow. But you can control something. Your choices. Your effort. Your response. Your discipline. Your attention. Your character. Imagine standing at a football match. Your team is playing. You desperately want them to win. You shout. You scream. You argue with the referee. You become furious. But nothing you do from the seat changes the score. You're spending your emotional energy trying to control something that isn't under your authority. Now imagine the player on the field. He cannot control the referee. He cannot control the crowd. He cannot control the weather. But he can control where he runs. He can control his effort. He can control whether he gives up. That is the difference between anxiety and inner strength. An anxious mind keeps staring at the scoreboard. A disciplined mind focuses on the next move. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release it. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting your strength. Suppose someone insults you. You can't control what they said. But you can control whether you spend the next 6 hours replaying their words. Suppose someone rejects you. You cannot control their decision. But you can control whether rejection destroys your confidence. Suppose you lose an opportunity. You can't change what happened. But you can decide what you learn from it. This is not weakness. This is power. The moment you stop trying to command the uncontrollable, you recover an enormous amount of mental energy. And that energy can finally be used to build your life. 4. Stop demanding certainty. Your mind wants guarantees. It wants to know. Will everything be okay? Will they stay? Will I succeed? Will I have enough money? Will my plan work? Will people respect me? Will tomorrow be good? But life does not give guarantees. And waiting for certainty before you move means waiting forever. A young woman named Sarah wanted to leave a job she hated. She had wanted to leave for 2 years. But every time she considered it, anxiety asked, what if the next job is worse? What if you don't find another one? What if you fail? What if you regret leaving? So she stayed. Month after month. year after year. Eventually, she realized something. She was waiting for a guarantee that didn't exist. She wanted someone to promise, "Sarah, leave this job and everything will work out perfectly." Nobody could give her that promise. So she changed the question. Instead of asking, "Can I guarantee success?" she asked, "Can I take the next reasonable step?" That question changed everything. She updated her resume. She applied for positions. She learned new skills. 6 months later, she had moved into a new career. Was everything perfect? No. But she was moving. And movement is often better than endless mental paralysis. You don't need certainty. You need enough courage to take the next step. The Stoic doesn't say, "Nothing bad will happen." The Stoic says, "Whatever happens, I will meet it with reason and courage." That's a completely different mindset. You don't need to know how the entire story ends. You only need to live the next page well. 5. Control your breath before you control your thoughts. When anxiety rises, don't immediately argue with your mind. Start with your body. Slow down. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Take a slow breath. Then another. Your body and mind constantly influence each other. When you are tense, your thoughts can become more frantic. When you deliberately slow yourself down, you create space between the feeling and your response. Imagine someone named James walking into an important meeting. His heart is beating fast. His palms are sweating. His thoughts are moving quickly. He thinks, "I'm going to mess this up. I'm not ready. Everyone can see I'm nervous." Instead of fighting the thoughts, James quietly puts both feet on the floor. He takes a slow breath. He notices his shoulders. He lowers them. He looks around the room. He reminds himself, "I don't need to be perfect. I only need to be present." The meeting begins. He's still nervous. But now he's functioning. That distinction matters. You don't have to eliminate every uncomfortable feeling before you act. You can act while nervous. You can speak while nervous. You can move forward while uncertain. Strength is not the absence of anxiety. Strength is refusing to let anxiety make every decision. So when your mind accelerates, slow your body. Breathe. Look around. Feel your feet against the ground. Return to the room. Return to the moment. Return to what is actually happening. Your mind may be in tomorrow. Bring it home. 6. Stop rehearsing disasters. There is a difference between preparation and mental punishment. Preparation asks, "What can I do?" Anxiety asks, "How many terrible scenarios can I imagine?" You might rehearse an argument that hasn't happened. You might imagine someone rejecting you. You might imagine failing. You might imagine losing everything. You might imagine being embarrassed in front of everyone. And each time you imagine it, your body reacts. You experience a fictional event emotionally. Then you repeat it. Again. And again. And again. Imagine a man named David who was afraid of public speaking. He had a presentation on Monday. On Sunday evening, he imagined himself walking to the front of the room. He imagined forgetting his words. He imagined people laughing. He imagined his manager criticizing him. He imagined everyone thinking he was incompetent. By midnight he was terrified. But then he realized something. He hadn't practiced his presentation. He had practiced his humiliation. So he changed his approach. He practiced the actual presentation 3 times. He prepared his opening. He prepared the main points. He prepared for possible questions. Then he went to sleep. The next morning, he was nervous. But he was ready. Preparation gave him something anxiety never could. A plan. When you find yourself imagining disaster, ask, "Is there an action I can take right now?" If yes, take it. If no, release the scenario. You don't need to rehearse pain that hasn't arrived. You need to prepare for life, not terrorize yourself with possibilities. 7. Stop making other people's opinions your mirror. One of the quickest ways to become anxious is to make your emotional stability dependent on other people's reactions. Someone praises you. You feel valuable. Someone criticizes you. You feel worthless. Someone responds warmly. You feel secure. Someone becomes distant. You panic. Someone approves. You relax. Someone disapproves. You collapse. This gives other people enormous power over your inner world. Consider Michael. Michael posted his work online. At first, people complimented him. He felt confident. Then someone left a harsh comment. Michael couldn't stop thinking about it. He reread it. He checked the person's profile. He wondered why they disliked him. He started questioning his ability. One negative opinion had become louder than 20 positive ones. But Michael eventually asked, "Why am I allowing someone who doesn't know me to define me?" That question brought him back to himself. You need to understand this. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will agree with you. Some people will misunderstand your intentions. Some people will criticize your choices. Some people will project their own frustrations onto you. And sometimes criticism will be justified. Your job is not to reject all criticism. Your job is to examine it without surrendering your identity to it. Ask, is there something useful here? If yes, learn. If no, release it. You don't need to attend every court case where someone has decided to judge you. Your character is built through your actions, not through every opinion about those actions. 8. Stop trying to solve your entire life tonight. Anxiety loves enormous questions. What am I going to do with my life? Will I ever succeed? Where will I be in 10 years? Will I find the right person? Will everything work out? These questions can overwhelm you because they demand answers that may not exist yet. So shrink the problem. Instead of, how do I fix my life? Ask, what can I improve today? Instead of, how will I become successful? Ask, what valuable thing can I do today? Instead of, how will I overcome everything? Ask, what is the next problem in front of me? A man named Robert once felt completely overwhelmed. His finances were difficult. His relationship was unstable. He disliked his job. He wasn't sleeping well. Every night he tried to solve everything. He would lie in bed thinking about money, then his career, then his relationship, then his future. By morning, he had solved nothing. He eventually decided to choose one problem at a time. He started with his finances. He wrote down every expense. Then he addressed his career. Then his health routines. Then his relationship. His life didn't transform overnight. But his mind became calmer because the chaos had become organized. You don't climb a mountain by staring at the summit every second. You climb by taking the next step. Your life is built the same way. One decision. One habit. One conversation. One disciplined action. One day at a time. Stop demanding that today's version of you solve the problems of the next 10 years. Live today well. Tomorrow will have its own work. 9. Let go of the past. Anxiety doesn't only live in the future. Sometimes it lives in yesterday. You replay what you said, what you should have said, what you shouldn't have done, who you trusted, who you lost, the opportunity you missed, the mistake you made, the relationship that ended. And every time you replay it, you emotionally reopen the same wound. A woman named Anna made a serious mistake at work. Her manager corrected her in front of others. Anna felt embarrassed. For weeks, she replayed the moment. She imagined what everyone thought. She thought, I should have known better. Why did I do that? I'll never make that mistake again. The last sentence was useful. The others weren't. There is a difference between learning from the past and living inside it. Learning asks, what does this teach me? Anxiety asks, how could I have prevented it? But the past is already complete. You can learn from it. You can apologize. You can repair what can be repaired. You can change your behavior. But you cannot go back and edit the scene. So stop demanding that the past become different. It won't. Your power is in what you do now. The mistake is not your identity. The failure is not your identity. The rejection is not your identity. The chapter is not the entire book. Turn the page. 10. Build a daily routine that gives your mind structure. A chaotic life can create a chaotic mind. When every day begins with your phone, notifications, social media, messages, comparison, and random distractions, your attention becomes scattered before you've even decided what matters. You don't need a perfect routine. You need structure. Wake up. Get out of bed. Drink water. Move your body. Give yourself a few quiet minutes. Decide what matters today. Work on something meaningful. Take breaks. Reduce unnecessary stimulation. Sleep properly. These simple actions can create stability. Consider Daniel again. He used to wake up and immediately check his phone. Before getting out of bed, he had already consumed dozens of opinions. News. Arguments. Messages. Social media. Comparison. By breakfast, his mind felt exhausted. He changed one thing. For the first 30 minutes of every morning, he didn't check his phone. Instead, he walked outside. He breathed fresh air. He wrote down 3 priorities. Then he started his day. Nothing magical happened. But his mind felt less scattered. Your environment influences your attention. If you constantly feed your mind noise, don't be surprised when silence feels uncomfortable. Train your mind to experience quiet. Train yourself to sit without stimulation. Train yourself to focus on one thing. Inner strength isn't built only during dramatic moments. It's built through ordinary habits repeated when nobody is watching. 11. Don't run from discomfort. Anxiety becomes stronger when you teach yourself. I must escape every uncomfortable feeling. If you always run from difficult conversations become more frightening. If you always avoid uncertainty becomes terrifying. If you always distract yourself from uncomfortable thoughts, silence becomes uncomfortable. If you always seek reassurance, eventually you may feel incapable of trusting yourself. Discomfort is not automatically danger. Sometimes discomfort is simply discomfort. Imagine a young man named Chris who hated making phone calls. Every time he needed to make one, he delayed. He wrote messages instead. He asked other people to call. He avoided opportunities. Eventually, he decided to make one uncomfortable call every day. The first few were difficult. His heart raced. His voice shook. But he survived. Then something interesting happened. The fear didn't disappear instantly. His relationship with fear changed. He discovered, I can feel uncomfortable and still act. That is a powerful realization. You don't need to wait until fear disappears. You can carry fear with you. You can say, I'm nervous, but I'm going. I'm uncertain, but I'm moving. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm staying calm. I'm afraid, but I'm thinking clearly. This is how confidence grows. Not by repeatedly telling yourself that nothing bad will happen, but by proving to yourself, whatever happens, I can respond. 12. Stop needing everything to go your way. One of the most exhausting beliefs is, things should happen the way I want. But life doesn't operate according to personal preference. People change. Plans fail. Doors close. Money comes and goes. Relationships evolve. Opportunities disappear. Unexpected problems arrive. You can either spend your life arguing with reality, or learn how to adapt to it. Imagine a traveler named Samuel. He planned a perfect vacation. He booked everything. He created a schedule. But when he arrived, the weather changed. His first reaction was anger. This wasn't supposed to happen. He spent half the day complaining. Then he realized something. Complaining wasn't changing the weather. So he changed the plan. He visited a museum. Found a local restaurant. Walked through the city. The trip wasn't what he imagined. But it became a good experience anyway. This is a small example of a larger principle. You don't always control the conditions. You control your adaptability. A strong mind doesn't say, "Reality must obey me." A strong mind says, "Reality is what it is. Now, what is the wisest response?" That question can save you enormous suffering. 13. Choose your response. This is where everything comes together. Something happens. There is a moment. That moment is your battlefield. Someone provokes you. Pause. Someone disappoints you. Pause. Someone ignores you. Pause. Something goes wrong. Pause. Your first emotional reaction may be automatic. Your second response can be chosen. Imagine someone insults you publicly. Your body immediately reacts. You feel anger. You want to answer. You want to defend yourself. You want to make them feel what you feel. But you stop. One breath. Then another. You ask, "Will responding improve this situation?" Maybe yes. Maybe no. You choose. That pause is power. The person who can control the pause can control the direction of the situation. Without the pause, emotion drives. With the pause, reason gets a seat at the table. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless. Stoicism isn't about becoming a stone. It's about refusing to become a slave to every emotion that enters your mind. You can feel anger without becoming cruel. You can feel fear without becoming helpless. You can feel sadness without surrendering. You can feel uncertainty without panicking. Your emotions are information. They are not always instructions. Learn the difference. The 13-minute mental reset. Now I want you to imagine that you have only 13 minutes. No phone. No distractions. No excuses. Just you and your mind. For the first minute, breathe. Slow down. Let your body settle. For the second minute, ask, "What am I actually worried about?" Name it. Don't hide from it. For the third minute, separate fact from story. What do you know? What are you assuming? For the fourth minute, ask, "What is within my control?" Write it down mentally. For the fifth minute, identify one action. Not 10. 1. For the sixth minute, release what you cannot control. Say, "I cannot control this. I can control my response." For the seventh minute, stop predicting the future. Return to today. For the eighth minute, forgive yourself for something you cannot change. You learned. You continue. For the ninth minute, imagine yourself handling difficulty calmly. Not escaping it. Handling it. For the 10th minute, decide what kind of person you want to be today. Patient? Disciplined? Courageous? Focused? Calm? For the 11th minute, remove one unnecessary worry. Ask, "Will this matter a year from now?" If not, don't give it your entire day. For the 12th minute, choose one meaningful task. Then do it. And for the 13th minute, tell yourself, "Whatever happens today, I will meet it with a clear mind and a steady character." Then get up. Move. Act. The final lesson: you don't need a perfect life to have a peaceful mind. Listen carefully. Your life may not become perfect. People may disappoint you. Plans may fail. You may lose money. You may face rejection. You may make mistakes. You may experience uncertainty. You may have days when you feel afraid. The goal isn't to create a life where nothing difficult ever happens. That's impossible. The goal is to become the kind of person who doesn't fall apart every time something difficult happens. That is inner steel. A calm mind is not a mind that never experiences storms. It is a mind that learns how to remain standing during them. Think about a tree. The wind doesn't ask permission before it arrives. The storm doesn't care how carefully the tree planned its day. The tree survives by having roots. Your values are your roots. Your discipline is your roots. Your ability to pause is your roots. Your acceptance of reality is your roots. Your courage is your roots. When the storm comes, you don't need to control the wind. You need to strengthen the roots. So when anxiety whispers, "What if everything goes wrong?" Answer, "Then I will handle what comes." When anxiety says, "What if they reject you?" Answer, "I will survive rejection." When anxiety says, "What if you fail?" Answer, "I will learn and continue." When anxiety says, "What if tomorrow is terrible?" Answer, "Tomorrow isn't here yet." And when anxiety says, "You don't know what will happen," say, "You're right. I don't. But I know who I intend to be." That is enough. Your new rule. From today forward, stop asking, "How do I make sure nothing goes wrong?" Ask, "How do I become stronger regardless of what happens?" That question changes everything. Because you stop building your peace around circumstances. You build it around character. Circumstances change. Character can grow. People change. Character can remain. Plans change. Principles can remain. The future is uncertain. Your response is still yours. You cannot control the entire world. But you can begin controlling yourself. And that is where real freedom starts. Closing. If you're watching this right now and you've been carrying anxiety quietly, remember something. You are not required to solve your entire life tonight. You don't have to know exactly what happens next. You don't have to have every answer. You don't have to eliminate every fear. You only need to return to the present. Take the next breath. Make the next decision. Do the next right thing. Then repeat. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One moment at a time. And slowly, something begins to change. The same things that once controlled you don't control you anymore. The same words that once destroyed your peace become background noise. The same uncertainty that once frightened you becomes something you can tolerate. You become calmer. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. That is the goal. Not to destroy every uncomfortable thought. Not to control every person. Not to predict every outcome. But to build a mind that can face uncertainty without surrendering its peace. So breathe. Stand tall. Let go of what isn't yours. Focus on what is. And remember, you don't need to control everything to be in control of yourself. If this message helped you, subscribe to Inner Steel for more powerful lessons on stoicism, discipline, emotional control, resilience, and mental strength. And whenever anxiety tries to pull you into tomorrow, remember these words. Tomorrow has not happened. The past cannot be changed. This moment is yours. Use it well. Build yourself. Strengthen your mind. Become difficult to shake. Become difficult to control. Become difficult to break. Build your inner steel.